This is Chapter 3 of the book Broadcast Journalism, Techniques of Radio and Television, News, Edition 7. The title of this chapter is called What Makes Broadcast News. To start off, every person going into the journalism field needs to know their audience. The content and the judgment of all news depends on how you reach your targeted audience. Broadcast journalists constantly search through multiple types of mediums in order to find the whole entire story. Different mediums may have different stories airing, but also may have the same story with different information. As journalists, we have the responsibility to know exactly what would interest our audience and what would keep them interested in the information that we are trying to give them. This topic is known as 24-hour coverage. This is due to the emergence of social media. Things such as natural disasters, governmental topics, and other information are found at the flip of a dime. Unfortunately, the positives of this medium are also muddled with the appearances of celebrity gossip and rumors that have been mixed up into this. A lot of the newer generations are more fond of this. This chaotic amount of mixed up topics is exactly the reason what newsrooms and newspapers have taken up people as editors. Good stuff stays in the scripts and articles, bad stuff goes out the door. The editor is a person who determines which information is more important and which information can be edited out. The photographers can take pictures that could or could not be associated with the articles that are being published in the newspapers, or videographers who take the video of the information being broadcasted. The journalists write the information that is being broadcasted to the public or published in the papers, and as an add-on, there are also people who give tips to the journalists on leads or new information. The 3 W's of broadcast journalism is who, where, and why. People would always like to know who an accident happened to. However, people would rather know information about those who are their same race or same religion. People who also like to know where the incident happened and where it happened in relevance to them. Furthermore, they want to know why. Did something happen to cause the accident, or how was the accident set up? Other information that has been found to be an interesting thing to people in general. The human factor is when someone tells their story and makes the story one that seems more real. The specialist is an option that a lot of people choose. It is basically getting information about the incident from someone who actually knows a lot about what happened, or the parts of the incident that he or she is knowledgeable about. All of these things are what helps in the competition of the journalism world. This competition is usually between the broadcasters or the newspapers, and the broadcasters are for views and the readers are for newspapers. In the book, it says, for a story to have impact, it has to be relevant. For news to have relevance, it has to have proximity. So, where did the incident happen? Relevance is based on your upbringing and other further features that make you who you are. This makes it so that whatever you are interested in reading, you have it there for you. Most places would rather air a story that reaches multiple audiences, however. The quicker that information can get to other people, the easier it is to have people come back and listen, which is where immediacy comes in and the breaking news. Make everything interesting. No one wants to be reading or watching a story that seems so boring and unappealing that they would never want to read it again. According to the book, it also says dramatic events of the stranger-than-fiction variety make very striking headlines, and in all honesty, people would rather like to read things with a lot of drama or a very big impact on society. No matter what kinds of news is being broadcasted, they will always fall into one of these following categories. Emergencies, which are considered to be the high points in human drama. Things such as natural disasters, animal attacks, and accidents, although accidents usually are limited to those with unusual elements or those that produce a death or serious injury. Although in some cities crimes are declining, people are seriously afraid of the capabilities of other human beings. This is why broadcasters want to capture the crimes, because people will watch what they fear. A lot of people want to keep in the know about what is going on with the government, especially now that the new elections are coming up. Most governmental stories are broadcasted through the eyes of the people affected by these changes or decisions. When a politician is being interviewed, it is mostly because the information that the broadcaster has received should be questioned about. The planning and development route is basically made for everyone to know about the current plans in the construction industry. Conflict and controversy is basically to keep people up to date on the current conflicts of today and who is in on it and on which side at which time. The industry and business section focuses on the business and the employment industry. This section is a lot of help to those who are looking for a good paying job or keeping up with the job market. This is a big factor in everyone's life at one point or another and should be properly aired as much as possible. For the medicinal world, there are new remedies and more experimental drugs that have been found to cure more and more diseases. Medicine and science keep changing, which is why the information has to constantly be updated. When scientists are interviewed for this, they have a way to get everything across without causing any confusion that may cause viewers to tune out. A soft human interest is one that is about extraordinary people who have done extraordinary things. Sports are a very self-explanatory thing. They are always aired due to the constant changing of the field. One thing that must be remembered is that a team, such as the Cubs, are made plural, and the clubs are made singular when writing down a script or an article. The weather is the weather. It is there to make sure that everyone knows about the possible safety hazards that the weather can pose. The weather, however, is usually very unpredictable, so it is not 100% that you should trust the news forecasters. Travel is basically the traffic reports. Now, this is acquired by a multitude of ways, but most of the time it is found by a helicopter that has been patrolling the areas that people are most likely to drive on. The special interests do depend on where in the country you are at. If you are near ports, you would probably like to see about how trade is going. If you live near the ocean, how will the tides be today? How cold will the water be? Animals are a very popular subject due to the large amount of people who enjoy listening and reading about what is happening to animals near and far. This is not just for those who love animals, however. It is also for those who worry about safety of others. Animals can be vicious sometimes, and when there is an animal around that is dangerous, you would want to know how to avoid it. Celebrities are one of those topics that, no matter how much you could or could not care, you find yourself wondering what they're doing. Everyone wants to know about those people who are richer and more well-known than they are. Finally, I would just like to make some key points about this chapter. These can also be found under the headline section of Chapter 3 on page 49. Know your audience. You need to know them so that you can make news judgments and adapt your writing styles to what they want. There are global, local, national, general, or specialist audiences. Good radio journalism will make someone stop and listen to the radio, even after they are done driving and their car is turned off. Good television journalism is one that will make someone want to watch that channel on their phone as well as at home. The groups of broadcast news are crime, business, weather, politics, culture, arts, entertainment, sports, and science. That was my presentation on broadcast journalism. Thank you very much for listening.